only effective weapons against the Covenant.
The Halo TV series on Paramount Plus created quite a stir among fans when it premiered in March 2022. Fans weren't happy because the show changed a lot of things from the original games made by Bungie and 343 Industries. One of the major changes was revealing Master Chief without his helmet, which was a big departure from what fans had initially expected, thus screwing with the franchise's core story. While the show took inspiration from the detailed world of the Halo universe, it decided to create its own timeline with new characters and storylines that didn't follow the established lore. And to further add to the menace, Season 1's showrunners said that while crafting the Halo show, the gaming was not even considered. But as we approach the final episode of Season 2, the premise seems to be changing, as the new showrunner, David Weiner, is making the series more faithful to the original lore, like including the Fall of Reach, which is a crucial event from the games. But that's not all. Even though Master Chief is the most beloved character from the Halo franchise, there's another character who was introduced in 2004's Halo 2 who vied for the popularity spot, and that is none other than the Arbiter. As a key figure in this season and the games, his character has been pretty cool to watch. So without further ado, let's find out who the Arbiter is within the Halo universe. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
Both parties survived the encounter.
How did the title of the Arbiter originate? The title of the Arbiter traces back to ancient times, long before the Covenant existed and much before the Sangheili ventured into space, originating on Sangheilios. These ancient Arbiters were actually fearless warriors who governed all Sangheili clans, serving as both rulers and judges. Many centuries before their space exploration, a despotic Arbiter seized control of Kivro's entire continent. However, the Swords of Sangheilios, who were a coalition of Kaidons, ultimately toppled this oppressive regime. Despite the Sangheili's expansion into numerous worlds, the tradition of Arbiters leading their species persisted through time. In 938 BCE, when the Sanshayum arrived on the Sangheili frontier colony of Ulgathon aboard their forerunner Dreadnought, Arbiter Vima Togad sparked the War of Beginnings by decapitating a Sanshayum delegation and placing their heads on the Dreadnought for other Sanshayum reformists to discover. This action marked the beginning of a long war, where this Arbiter led the Sangheili against the Sanshayum. The conflict lasted for many decades, until the Writ of Union was ratified and the war ended. It was during this time that the hierarchs of the newly formed Covenant realized the significance and importance of the Arbiter title. What is an Arbiter's purpose? Originally, the Arbiter's role was to govern the Sangheili species. When the Covenant formed, the title of Arbiter remained untouched by the Sanshayum, serving as the chief commander of the Covenant military and protector of the Great Journey. However, about 400 years before 2552, the Arbiter's duties shifted to following the hierarch's orders directly. Each Arbiter was selected during times of intense conflict and tasked with perilous missions to redeem themselves from past sins through death. Despite knowing that their title meant a likely death sentence, Arbiters eagerly carried out the hierarch's missions, hoping for an honorable death to regain their lost honor. Within the Covenant, especially among the Ungoi, the Arbiter was seen as a savior during desperate times, representing the will of the prophets to Sangheili peers. Fallen Arbiters were honored with identical caskets in the mausoleum of the Arbiter, with an empty floating pod containing the Arbiter's armor when the title was vacant, and although this armor was sort of ornate, it was still fully functional for battle. Despite being a lone warrior, the Arbiter had authority over other Covenant soldiers, akin to a UNSC 4-star general. And a good example of that is how Arbiter Ripa Morimi once unsheathed his energy swords in front of a hierarch, which is typically an act punishable by death as aggression against the Prophet. However, his status as Arbiter likely saved him from immediate execution taken by nearby Sangheili honor guardsmen. Although the title's honor was restored after the Covenant's fall, the modern Arbiter's role differs significantly from the ancient Judge Kings of Sangheili history. Despite being sent in for suicide missions to redeem their honor, the rank of the Arbiter holds significant military command and is highly respected for preventing the Covenant from fracturing. Even figures like the Prophet of Mercy acknowledged that were it not for the Arbiters, the Covenant would have broken long ago. So, despite being reserved for disgraced warriors, the rank maintains a high level of esteem. As noted by 343 Guilty Spark to Sessa Refami, the prophets strategically appointed certain Sangheili with significant political influence as arbiters within the Covenant. These individuals often questioned and challenged the prophets' decisions, leading to accusations of heresy and removal of dissenters. So, once branded as arbiters, these warriors would undertake dangerous missions, effectively upholding the power structure of the Covenant. The Arbiters after the Covenant was formed. Following the establishment of the Covenant, many Sangheili traditions and history were lost, but the title of Arbiter remained as a prestigious position of power. It was bestowed upon the Covenant's military commander-in-chief, which was a great honor among the Sangheili. The Arbiter was seen as a symbol of greatness, tasked with upholding justice and peace within the Covenant. Their authority was unquestioned within the Covenant, and they served as the will of the hierarchs. During an age of conversion around 784 BCE, when the Covenant faced challenges in their war against the Lekgolo species, Arbiter Jet Lamukti was assigned to study the Lekgolo on the moon of Rantu in order to discover their strengths and weaknesses, including their ability to form powerful mega Lekgolo units. Jet proposed incorporating the Lekgolo into the Covenant, a suggestion which was reluctantly accepted by the hierarchs, leading to the Lekgolo joining the Covenant Empire. Now, around 400 years before the destruction of Installation 4, Arbiter Falchavami rejected the Covenant religion and was labeled a heretic by the hierarchs. This led to his and a high-ranking kinsman's deaths, altering the Arbiter's role significantly. The title was then given to dishonored Sangheili to redeem themselves through suicidal missions crucial to the Covenant. This change was partly to strengthen the hierarchs' control over the Sangheili, silencing those who questioned or threatened them by branding them as heretics and appointing them as arbiters. During the Ngoi Rebellion of 2462, Arbiter Heki Gibidi was appointed to suppress the uprising. He commanded a fleet that partially glassed the Ngoi homeworld of Balaho, compelling the species to surrender and rejoin the Covenant. After the start of the Human Covenant War, the Prophet of Regret appointed Ripa Morimi as an arbiter with the task of eradicating humanity. As the arbiter, Morimi led Covenant forces in key battles, including the Harvest Campaign, the Battle for Arcadia, and the Battle of Trove. During the latter battle, Morimi captured Professor Ellen Anders to use her as a reclaimer to unlock Forerunner dreadnoughts for the Covenant's advantage. The UNSC Spirit of Fire, which is a Phoenix-class support ship, then pursued Morimi's ship to Trove and worked to rescue Anders in order to thwart the Covenant's plans. Ultimately, Sergeant John Forge killed Arbiter Ripa Morimi with his own energy sword during the Battle of the Etran Harborage. The planet and its Forerunner fleet were destroyed by the Spirit of Fire, ending the Covenant's scheme. Morimi was also one of the last arbiters appointed by the hierarchs. In 2552, after the destruction of Installation 4 by John 117, Supreme Commander Thel Vadam was labeled a heretic for failing to protect the Halo installation, but instead of facing execution, he was appointed as an arbiter by the hierarchs. Vadam's first task was to eliminate the heretic leader Sessa Refami and later retrieve the activation index of Installation 5. However, he was betrayed by Tartarus, the chieftain of the Jiralhane, who had been instructed by the High Prophet of Truth to lead a coup against the Sangheili. Despite surviving Tartarus's assassination attempt, Vadam found himself leading the Sangheili against the Covenant in the Great Schism. Rescued by the Gravemind, he learned the truth about the Halos and the Great Journey from the Flood Leader, aided by John 117, who had destroyed destroyed Installation 4 and disgraced Vadam. So, with a mix of desperation and a newfound understanding, the Arbiter joined forces with the UNSC, and together they defeated the Covenant at Installation 00, where Vadam personally executed Truth, the last hierarch. During this pivotal battle, Vadam and John 117 fought alongside each other, forming a powerful alliance despite their past enmity. What happened to the Arbiters after the Covenant War? After the Human Covenant War concluded, the Arbiter signed the Treaty of 2552 with the Unified Earth Government to establish peace between the Sangheili and humanity. He founded the Swords of Sangheilios and worked towards uniting the Sangheili, even though not all Sangheili supported him. Some saw Vadam's survival and leadership as heretical since traditional Arbiters were expected to die in battle. In 2553, Thel Vadam traveled across Sangheilios to advocate for lasting peace with humanity. During a visit to Madama, he renounced his title as Arbiter, identifying himself simply as a Kaidan. However, he continues to be referred to as the Arbiter as of October 2558 in the Halo lore. The Arbiters Armor. So, the Arbiters Armor is housed in the mausoleum of the Arbiter until it's passed on to a new bearer of the title. Crafted from a bronze or silvery metal, the armor features intricate engravings and metalwork, highlighting its ceremonial significance. Despite its ornate appearance, the armor is fully functional as a combat suit, alongside being equipped with advanced technology such as a heads-up display, an energy shield system, and an active camouflage. Now, the technology that's integrated into the Arbiter's armor actually mirrors that of the standard Sangheili combat harness, albeit with a much older design. While modern Covenant active camouflage offers virtually unlimited duration, the Arbiter's camouflage only lasts a few seconds, still granting a tactical advantage. Each Arbiter is outfitted with a unique set of armor, although all share the same basic design. Plus, given the fatal nature of the Arbiter's missions, recovering their corpse and armor is often impossible. As a result, it may seem as though each Arbiter receives a new set of armor. However, the technology within the suit remains unchanged, with no enhancements made to its capabilities. This could be deliberately done to test the Arbiter's abilities, or perhaps due to traditional reasons, although some super minor customization options may exist for the Arbiter's armor. For instance, Ripa Morimi, who is exceptionally tall at over 8 foot 7 inches, had armor tailored to his size, while Thel Vadam, standing at 7 foot 10, had his armor adjusted accordingly. Initially, Thel's armor lacked mandible guards and a shoulder-mounted light, but he gained these features after the Great Schism, along with a significant upgrade to his active camouflage. Even though Ripa Morimi's armor appeared to be bulletproof, it lacked energy shields. Additionally, his active camouflage was more advanced, allowing him to approach Sergeant Forge undetected on multiple occasions while being fully cloaked. In the game, his unit could also achieve a permanent cloak, although this may strictly be for gameplay purposes. Another hypothesis regarding the variations in armor sizes and perceived customization is that the armor might not be as ancient as commonly believed. Instead, it could be newly crafted if the old armor is lost, or if the current armor doesn't suit the new Arbiter's needs. An illustrative instance of this is depicted in Halo Wars, where the crew of UNSC Spirit of Fire discards the Arbiter's body in the mist below the apex. Every important Arbiter in the Halo games. Let's take a look at every Arbiter known to us through the games in chronological order. Pre-Covenant era. Irsu Labat. Known as the Tyrant of Kivro, Irsu Labat was a despotic arbiter who governed the continent of Kivro in ancient times, long before the Sangheili ventured into space. His oppressive rule came to an end when he was ousted by the original Swords of Sangheilios, marking a significant event in Sangheili history. Vima Togad. Also known as the Prophet's Bane, Vima Togad was an arbiter who played a crucial role in leading the Sangheili during the War of Beginnings against the Sanshayum. His leadership was very instrumental during this significant conflict in Sangheili history. The Covenant Rule, Jet Lamukti. Known as the Hunter of Hunters, Jet Lamukti was an arbiter assigned the task of pacifying the Lekgolo resistance during the taming of the Lekgolo. The Lekgolos are worm-like creatures belonging to planet T, belonging to planet T, and after noticing their potential to be indomitable warriors for the Covenant, Jet Lamukti asked the Covenant to incorporate them within the army because of their ability to form powerful mega Lekgolo units. Thal Chavami. Known as the Defiant One, Thal Chavami held the title of Arbiter during the 2100s, which was approximately 400 years before 2552. His tenure was of great importance in Covenant history and spanned from the discovery of the Ungoi to the initial contact with humanity. It was Chavami's steadfast refusal to embrace the Covenant religion which resulted in the Arbiter's position being transformed into a symbol of disgrace. The Line of Immaculate Succession, Heki Gibidi. Also known as the Rebellion Queller, Heki Gibidi played a pivotal role in ending the Ungoi resistance during the Ungoi Rebellion. His success in pacifying the rebellion became a notable example cited by the High Priest of Mercy to highlight the honor and prestige associated with the Arbiter title. This historical event was even referenced when Thel Vadam was being considered for the position of Arbiter. Ripa Morimi. Popularly known as the Savage, Ripa Morimi held the esteemed position of the 17th Arbiter in the Line of Immaculate Succession. He led Covenant forces during critical campaigns on Harvest, Arcadia, and Trove. Appointed by the Prophet of Regret to spearhead the destruction of humanity, Morimi met his demise in combat against Sergeant John Forge. Thel Vadam. This guy is renowned as the Arbiter who played a pivotal role in suppressing the heretics led by Sessa Refemi and subsequently led by the Sangili during the tumultuous Great Schism. As the last Arbiter appointed before the Covenant's fracture, he likely occupied the 18th position in the Line of Immaculate Succession. Vadam not only vanquished the heretics under Refemi's command, but also commanded the Covenant separatists during the Great Schism. It was actually his partnership with John 117, the legendary Spartan II, which marked a significant chapter in the closing stages of the Human Covenant War. Whose character can be used as a reference for the Arbiter's character in the Halo TV series? So, a fascinating new theory has emerged regarding Halo Season 2's portrayal of Arbiter, hinting at a potential replacement for another character from the Halo 2 games. The live-action series introduced a fresh interpretation of the Arbiter rather than sticking to the established canon of the core franchise. And this new Arbiter defied the leadership of the Alien Covenant, setting the stage for an intriguing character adaptation from the gaming lore. In Halo Season 2, the Covenant forces are actively pursuing Forerunner artifacts in their quest to ascend and claim the Forerunner's mantle of responsibility as the supreme species in the galaxy. And this quest involves locating the Halo rings. However, the leading hierarchs are exposed as hypocrites when confronted with the truth that humanity is the true blessed ones of the Forerunners. This was evident from their inability to decipher and access Forerunner technology, a skill possessed only by certain humans. Halo Season 2, Episode 6 hints at a potential transformation for the Arbiter Var Gatanai, suggesting that the character may evolve into someone entirely different from what fans of the core Halo franchise expect. In the Halo series depiction of the fall of Reach, Var Gatanai asserts himself as the leader of the invading Covenant forces, but later he aligns himself with Mackie, serving the Covenant and aiding them in accessing Forerunner artifacts. While in the established core Halo franchise canon, Thel Vadam held the esteemed position of the Supreme Elite Commander during the events of Reach, later undergoing a transformation into the shamed Arbiter following his failure to secure the first Halo ring. However, in Paramount's Halo show, Gatanai is presented as the current Arbiter, driven by a desire for redemption through the elimination of John 117, also known as the Demon. In a significant twist, Mackie persuades Var Gatanai to defy the orders of the Covenant hierarchs and reject their lies and hypocrisy. She argues that the Arbiter has the potential to lead the Covenant to true enlightenment if he assists Mackie in reaching the Halo ring first, First, it's implied that Var-Gatanai was bestowed the Arbiter title as a form of shame, possibly for his past defiance against the prophets. Similarly, Mackie also tries to manipulate him by saying that he was appointed as the Arbiter because the hierarchs viewed him as a threat due to his influential nature. In a pivotal turn of events in Halo Season 2, Episode 6, the Arbiter's defiance solidifies when the Sangili priest aboard the ship questions their delay in returning to High Charity. Furthermore, tensions escalate when the priest accuses Mackie of betrayal upon discovering a transmission to the UNSC's Onyx, attributed to Cortana, who is currently under Covenant custody. Instead of complying with the priest's demand to execute Mackie, the Arbiter and his loyalists engage in a fierce confrontation with the priest and his supporters, sparking a chaotic brawl aboard the Covenant vessel. And that is a very dangerous move, because it actively proves him to be a traitor to the Covenant regime. Should Var-Gatanai and his followers emerge triumphant by the season finale of Halo, they're poised to become the faction of heretics reminiscent of those introduced in the Halo 2 game. This narrative arc suggests that Var-Gatanai could potentially serve as a counterpart to Sessa Refami, the original leader of the heretics who defied the prophets after uncovering the truth about the Forerunners and the hypocrisy of the hierarchs following the battle of the first Halo ring. Notably, the key difference lies in Gatanai and his loyalists becoming heretics prior to the battle, thus contrasting with Refami's defiance occurring after the pivotal engagement. If Var-Gatanai is indeed portrayed as the heretic leader in the Halo show, it opens up the possibility for the introduction of a live-action Thel 'Vadam, who is by far the most famous Arbiter from the Halo games. One of 'Vadam's initial missions as Arbiter in the Halo 2 game was to confront and potentially execute Refami, and this was a key event that ultimately led 'Vadam to uncover the deceit of the prophets and eventually align himself with humanity. While the exact adaptation of this storyline into the Halo show remains uncertain, the prospect of establishing Var-Gatanai as the heretic and paving the way for 'Vadam's Arbiter in future developments is undeniably thrilling.
San Helios will be free!
What is the reference for the Arbiter's Mark of Shame shown in the Halo TV series? So, in the established Halo canon, Thel 'Vadam assumes the prestigious title of Arbiter, a role steeped in ceremony, religion, and politics. However, Halo Season 2 introduces Var-Gatanai as the Arbiter in the Silver Timeline's version of events. Driven by his desire to kill Master Chief, Var-Gatanai clashes with Mackie when she prevents him from carrying out his mission to end John's life on Reach. John, who is also another Blessed One, becomes pivotal in the search for the Forerunner's Halo array, or so Mackie asserts during a crucial moment in the Fall of Reach episode. Following their confrontation, Var contemplates handing Mackie over to the prophets as they orbit High Charity. Amidst this turmoil, as Mackie endeavors to activate a Forerunner keystone, the Arbiter faces a monumental decision that leaves him branded with the Mark of Shame. It's this development that hints at Halo Season 2's Arbiter serving as an influence on Thel 'Vadam's eventual story in Halo 2, rather than directly replacing him. As we've discussed a few times before, in the evolving history of the Arbiter title, its significance shifted dramatically about 400 years prior to the Human Covenant War, which led to the title becoming synonymous with profound shame. Subsequent Arbiters were expected to embrace martyrdom as a means of redeeming themselves. In the game, Thel 'Vadam assumed the role of Arbiter after failing to prevent Master Chief's destruction of Installation 4 in Halo Combat Evolved. Upon accepting the Arbiter mantle, Thel 'Vadam bears the Mark of Shame, a symbol of disgrace that is seared into one's flesh. Typically, individuals branded with this mark face swift execution for their crimes. However, Thel's choice to become Arbiter spares him from public humiliation and imminent death, albeit at the cost of embracing a challenging and fatal path. Despite the inherent risks, Thel believed that serving as Arbiter offered him a chance at redemption within the Covenant's hierarchy for one last time. Now, the meaning for the Mark of Shame changed over time, and by introducing the Arbiter in Halo Season 2, there's a substantial deviation from the established timeline in the core canon. In the canonical storyline, Sessa discovers the destructive nature of the Forerunner Halo array, leading him to reject the Prophet's beliefs and form a heretic faction that breaks away from the Covenant. Thel 'Vadam, then tasked with quelling Sessa's rebellion, defies the Covenant's teachings, transforming the Mark of Shame from a symbol of disgrace to one of defiance. So maybe Var-Gatanai is paving the way for the on-screen version of Thel 'Vadam to come into the mix. After the Master Chief killed the Prophet of Regret, the Covenant decided to reshuffle the Covenant hierarchy where elites like Thel 'Vadam were stripped of their rank due to their failure to protect the fallen prophet. This pivotal moment sparked the Great Schism, also known as the Covenant Civil War, a significant conflict within the Covenant's ranks. Although the Mark of Shame was used as a brand of regret, it gained a new meaning and became the symbol of honor during the Great Schism. In the Halo 3 game, elites were seen proudly wearing the Mark of Shame on their combat gear as a tribute to Arbiter Thel 'Vadam and his rebellious stance against the Covenant's oppressive regime. Now, it doesn't matter whether Arbiter Var-Gatanai embodies the essence of Sessa Refumi leading a heretical faction alongside Mackie, or represents a replacement for Thel 'Vadam, or aligns himself with humanity, because the one thing that remains clear is that he has taken a definitive stance against the Covenant. Despite potentially acquiring the Mark of Shame as a means of atoning for his decision to break away from the Covenant with Mackie, this brand is poised to become a potent symbol of rebellion and defiance in the Halo TV series, mirroring its significance in the core canon, which sets the stage for an intriguing and thrilling storyline in Halo Season 3. So, who do you guys think Arbiter Var-Gatanai's character is adapted from? Let us know in the comment box below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, and be safe. Thanks, everyone.